Hey everybody, I'm Alex Underwood. I'm a senior here at the University of Mount Union, and today I will be talking about Startup.com, which was a documentary about two inspiring entrepreneurs who went to high school together. Tom Herman's on the left, Khalil Asaza Tuzman is on the right, and the documentary takes place from 1998 to 2000. The documentary involves the website govworks.com, which was created by Tom and Khalil. And what govworks.com did was assist with local government processes, such as paying parking tickets, applying for city jobs, paying taxes, renewing licenses, etc. And the company actually experienced initial success, but it soon went downward and failed. And I'll be discussing many entrepreneurship aspects of the documentary. And the first is branding. Now, they had no clue what to call the website, and they were thinking about calling it nexttowntech.com, parkingtickets.com, untocaesar.com, and govworks.com. Obviously, they eventually called it govworks.com, and how they chose on that was through meditation. So Khalil went into a room and he actually just meditated for 10 minutes straight. And after he meditated, he was like, oh, this is the one. And that's how he chose it. And he also branded govworks.com through television appearances, such as through local media. And he also visited the White House. He was chosen to visit the White House with many other website engineers and people in the website industry, because at that time it was booming. Many people were investing in websites, and it was a hot topic. And now we'll be talking about investors. Khalil and Tom, they wanted over $60 million from investors. And at first they were just obtaining small loans from family, around $20,000, $30,000. However, that was clearly not enough. And what they did was they went around the world meeting with investors. Few were successful, many were unsuccessful. And part of the reason why many were unsuccessful is because they had no legal representation. So no lawyers came with them to these meetings, and investors were turned off by that, and they just seemed unprofessional. And they even traveled to the Silicon Valley to pitch the business, which is located near the San Jose, San Francisco, Oakland area. And their ideas were severely rejected, and they were actually told that if they wanted to succeed, they were going to have to move to the West Coast since they were located in New York. However, they stayed on the East Coast, they stayed in New York, and they actually did manage to raise the $60 million. One of the main investors was Henry Kravis. He is a billionaire businessman who loved their idea. He thought it would succeed. Obviously, it didn't. And also Mayfield and corporations and former mayors invested in govworks.com as well. And now we'll be talking about some competitors that they faced. The main competitor was EasyGov.com. It was created shortly after govworks.com, and they attempted to recruit the founder, Brian Mundy, who was a former friend of Khalil, as they both went to Harvard together. And what Brian Mundy did was take their ideas and form a similar website in Atlanta. So he basically copied their idea, took their idea, and they couldn't do anything about it because they couldn't afford to pursue a lawsuit against them, because they just did not have enough money and assets, especially because their company was a startup. And it was kind of interesting, but Mundy died just weeks after the premiere of Startup.com, the documentary. He died in a fire, and it's just a little suspicious because he was receiving a lot of backlash as soon as the film opened because of how he kind of backstabbed Khalil, and now he's found in a fire. However, it was reported that it was an accidental fire and that he wasn't killed. But I just found that interesting. And also Sidewalk.com and CitySearch.com were created shortly after as well, which just caused further competition with govworks.com, and it led to GovWorks going bankrupt. Now, I'm just going to point out a few reasons why GovWorks failed. And the first one was because they just did not have enough capital and assets. While they had investors, around $60 million, that still was not enough, because by 2000 it was costing $1 million per month for their company. And part of the reason is because their company grew so quickly. They underestimated the technology aspect, as Tom was the web engineer of the company, and he thought that around 10 to 15 web engineers would work for the company, but he needed a lot more. He needed around 100. And for the total company, there was around 250 employees by 2000, which was just too difficult to pay for all the employees and maintain the company. And another issue is that competitors were taking their ideas, such as EasyGov.com, and there was also the dot-com bubble burst, which was essentially an internet recession in 2000, where all the stocks regarding internet or websites fell, and it really hurt a lot of websites in the future. And lastly, there was leadership divide between Khalil and Tom as they battled for power and input. They often argued with each other. They did not agree on many things whatsoever. And Khalil, who was the CEO of the company, actually fired Tom. So even though they were co-founders, Khalil was still a step ahead of Tom, and he fired Tom, and that was kind of near the end of the documentary, and it was just downhill from there. However, I do think that they did a few things right, such as company outings. They went camping as all the employees went camping together, and they just kind of forgot about everything that they were dealing with in New York, and it was a good morale booster for the company, even though they did fail shortly after. And also, Khalil and Tom, the partners, were very honest with each other. While they did have their differences, they weren't afraid to show their differences with each other. And I think that's important for partners to have, especially when you're working on a multi-million-dollar company. Additionally, they pursued investors rigorously. They traveled around the United States looking for investors, and they did end up finding that $60 million. And lastly, they sold the company, and while they did still lose a little bit of money, they could have lost a lot more if they would have tried to just keep it for, let's say, 2 or 3 more years. And while the company was sold in 2002 and nothing was done with the company, for 16 years it was actually relaunched in 2018 by Adam Bolt. Adam Bolt, he was not involved in the original GovWorks.com, just completely new guy, and none of the former founders are involved in the relaunch. And the relaunch focuses on visas, passports, licenses, so it's kind of still the same idea, but visas and passports are, I guess it's more bigger than they were in 1998 to 2000, so that was just something new. And also the new company is stationed in Miami, and it has around 32 employees, so it doesn't have the 250 employees like GovWorks.com had in 2000, however that could still rise in the future. So I'd like to open up for any questions, and thank you for listening to my presentation.